Yep, hi morning. We are here on site with the current ongoing repairs of the road culvert. So one of the things that we spoke about all the time is that the importance of road maintenance. What is happening is that the culvert is a natural passage that allows the water to come down the hill, straight under the road and over into what is now Indigo Bay. The lack of maintenance over the years means that what we found upon digging up the actual culvert is that there's a lot of sediments down into the hole. It hasn't been maintained. That's what blocked that has blocked the actual culvert to the point now the road has begun to crack and stress. So that's kind of crack that we saw in the road is basically the stress of the road. A lot of what we've observed today too is the way how we've built in the past, use of sea salt, sea sand instead of regular sand. That impacted the concrete has now swollen and broken. So a lot of the things that we have talked about in terms of road maintenance, regular maintenance, we've seen, for example, grills completely gone, the concrete blocks could be swollen. So what we're going to temporarily do is condemn this culvert for a temporary fix, and then we're going to expand, build a new drain, make it much bigger, because we're at the point in the road where a lot of water comes down here, and we have to build something more sustainable, a lot bigger. We're 40 years into St. Martin, where there's much more heavy equipment, much more development, so we have to increase what we have infrastructure to support what we're developing as well.
So today, as our minister stated, we have begun the works to not just repair the culvert, but to condemn a section of that culvert because we're having some problems with it. Everybody can see that a hole opened up in the road. But here's some things that I would like to talk to you guys about this culvert. It was made long before I was born, and the way we made the culvert may not have been the way that we would make culverts today. So we noticed when we opened up the culvert that on this side of the road, it is completely collapsed, but on the other side of the road, the collapsing has begun. Because we have used sea sand to build that culvert, we noticed that the steel within the culvert is starting to expand, and then it broke apart the concrete, and this is the situation that we are facing right now. Now, we've decided to condemn this side of the road because we're in that wet season, okay? When we go back into the dry season, we're going to see how we can repair this culvert that is more sustainable. We're going to make the culvert wider so that it can handle more water. And then we're also going to tilt the culvert more to the hillside over on this side so that the water can flow easy. But not only that, it also prevents fill from getting into the culvert, or it also prevents fill from blocking up the culvert, so that the fill that naturally falls from the hill would run through the culvert. And that's the reason why we have to slope the road. St. Martin, there's a lot more fixes that we have to do like this. We have 4 more culverts down the road that we need to pay attention to. Remember, all of these culverts were used the same material as this one, which means that the same processes of disintegration is happening with those culverts as well. It's a timely process, and it's one that we don't take lightly. We don't like making decisions that tomorrow we're going to have to make another bigger decision.
Through you, Chair, MP Marlin asked, what are the near plans with UNOPS and the Prison Detention Center, considering the $20 million allocation that might be jeopardized? Through you, Chair, honorable members of Parliament, especially Mr. Marlin, regarding to the UNOPS and the Prison Detention Center project, we are nearing the completion of Phase 1, which began in the second quarter of 2023 and spans 20 months. This phase focuses on the design and the procurement of the sustainable human rights compliant prison facility. The budget of Phase 1 is $3.9 million, fully financed by the Ministry of Interior and Kingdom Relations, which is based at CAR, with completion expected by August 2024. Phase 2, scheduled to begin in January 2025, will involve the construction of the new facility, ensuring safe, humane detention while promoting reintegration. To a total budget for this project is 20 million euros. With 16 million allocated for Phase 2. To proceed, a revised agreement between St. Martin, the Netherlands, and UNOPS is needed, and financial resources must be secured. The Netherlands has already secured its share, while St. Martin is in the process of securing ours. A loan request of 54 million guilders was submitted to the CFT on June 17-2024, this loan must be included in an approved budget meeting CFT standards. The CFT has requested budget amendments, and the government is incorporating these recommendations into the draft budget amendment. The approval of this amendment by Parliament is crucial. Failure to do so may jeopardize the 20 million euros pledged by the Netherlands. Therefore, timely approval is essential to secure funds and proceed with the construction of the new prison facility. Question 2. Is there a direct plan or approach seeing the high crime on the island, the gun violence, seeing that it's a recent trend? And looking at your graph, you have 2 areas of concentration where the violence is extremely high. Is there more patrol in these areas? Will there be more patrol in these areas? Will there be more police available? To you, Chair, the answer is, today, I present a comprehensive plan to address the alarming crime rates and to ensure a safer environment for all our residents. This plan is not just a temporary fix, but a strategic approach backed by intelligence and data to make a significant and lasting impact. As detailed in my presentation last week, we are strategically allocating our limited resources based on what the data reveals about hotspots, hotshots, and hot times. This intelligence-based approach will allow us to focus our efforts precisely on where they are needed most, in what areas identified as high crime zones, by targeting these areas during peak times of criminal activities. We can maximize our impact and deter crime effectively. We are deploying additional patrols in areas with high crime, ensuring a significantly increase of police presence to deter criminal activities and respond swiftly to incidents. Specific operations will be conducted to address gun-related crimes, guaranteeing that offenders are apprehended and prosecuted. Enhanced surveillance measures will be implemented to monitor high crime areas, along with stricter traffic controls to reduce illegal activities and improve public safety. Regular checks and controls will prevent the circulation of illegal weapons, therefore reducing the risk of gun violence. Each community will benefit from a tailored action plan developed by our dedicated community police officers, addressing specific concerns unique to each district and fostering stronger community police relations. As mentioned, capacity remains an issue, and this directly linked to our budget. However, in the short term, we will receive support from the Dutch Kingdom police forces, particularly leading up to the elections. This assistance will bolster our efforts during this critical period. However, I must emphasize that following this period, we will rely on existing capacity of our own police force of St. Martin to maintain order and safety. Honorable members, through the chair, this plan represents our unwavering commitment to restoring safety and security on our island. We will take decisive action, work collaboratively with our communities, and ensure that strategies are grounded in intelligence and data.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
Prime Minister, let me get you clear. Are you saying that no public meetings will be allowed as of now?
Yes, we are going to. We had a Council of Ministers meeting yesterday. So the Minister of Justice is now working on the ads and information to share with the people. But seeing the fact that this is a momentum to communicate with the people of St. Martin, I'm anticipating already on the agreement that we have and that the Minister of Justice is going to give follow-up on the base of a decision that has been taken in the Council of Ministers. And the public meeting for me are meetings that you need a permit from government to organize. If you have, for example, a private meeting on a private place for your supporters, that will be tolerated. At the end of the day, we are in a democratic community, and I think that should be possible. But all measures that I take with my government is to guarantee the general interest and safety of our people, and I think this is a way to mitigate and control and have a good overview about the safety for the people of this country. Every incident costing a life of one citizen of this country is an attack on the community of St. Martin. And regrettable, we paid a too high price last week, Wednesday, and I'm not going to tolerate that for the people of my country, and that is the reason that I took this rigorous decision for my community.
You spoke of assistance coming from disabled St. Eustatius, Curacao, Aruba, and Bonaire. You made mention of the RST, the Marie-Chaussee, and you also said that you have the SWAT team from Curacao on the island. What really caught my attention was the fact that you're requesting the assistance of the Army to be on St. Martin. It sounds like you're calling for a state of emergency. Is that the case?
At this particular moment, we have a threat for the safety of our nation. And why it's a threat? Because traditionally, historically, we have never been exposed to this type of violence in our community. And I do believe that I have to take all measures necessary to bring back the mindset of my people in a way that how we used to live with each other. And I'm not going to tolerate this in this society, and that is the reason that I took these measures. Every life that we lose is one too much. If something happens tomorrow and somebody loses his or her life, people will look at me and told me, you knew it, why didn't you take the necessary measures? Now I know it, what is possible in this community, and because of that knowledge, I think it's my task and my responsibility to take the decisions that I can sleep comfortable with at night as the leader of this country.
The question remains, are you calling for a state of emergency, taking into consideration the situation as is at this time?
No, I'm calling for an exposure of protection on a high level for the people of my country. That is what I'm doing. And I hope that you are feeling comfortable with what I am taking with my government as measures for you to be safe in your country, and I hope you can appreciate that.
I do want to follow up on the same issue regarding all of the assistance that will be coming in. Can you give us an indication as to how long they will be here for? And of course, there is no price tag really that you can put on security, but what would be the cost of all of this for the government of St. Martin?
We need, of course, budget for what the decisions that we took as a government of St. Martin. And of course, we are financially challenged in our budgetary possibilities that we have, but we are making use of our catastrophe budget reservation that we have to make use of those funds to actually finance the necessary costs that comes with a decision like that. And hopefully, of course, the kingdom will accommodate us with the necessary safety without a too high price tag. And that is what is, I hope, realizing the threat of safety for our nation. But in principle, we have to be able to pay for safety for our country. And there is no excuse to protect life in this country. So I will go all the way for us to be able to pay to save lives in this country. And that is why I took this rigorous, aggressive decision for the country.
So you haven't answered the question. What is the cost? What is the budget that we'll be paying for this? And how
I have
long
been
are you
so
gonna be
busy
here?
with taking decisions for making this happen for the country that the objective why I'm doing this is for me more important than the cost, and I'm now in the phase of giving follow-up to actually calculate the costs for it. I don't mind to come back on that question with an answer, but I do believe now that the priority is bringing back full safety and stability in our people, and for us to stop with the hatred, the insult, and especially all those messages that are being sent on social media that is contributing in dividing our country. And I'm making use of this opportunity as a Prime Minister of this country to ask my people of my country to please stop this sensational exposure of message on social media. It's contributing to only what we call melee. It brings a lot of restlessness in our community, and actually only sensational dimension dislocates in our community, and at the end of the day, it's not going to contribute to the much needed unification in our country that we need now. If you want a way to combat violence, aggression, and separation of people, the only way to do that is for us to unify with each other and make use of your phone, of your social media, to send messages out that are going to stimulate the unification of our people, instead of constantly thinking that by inventing some story that is not based on the reality, that you're going to just entertain people for the sensation, and on the long term think that you're going to achieve admiration for your nation with that. It's not going to happen, so I would like to make use of this opportunity to ask my people of St. Martin to calm down on exposure on social media, especially if you do not have a good intention to contribute to unification of the society.
Hey, this is G Money here, restoring a princess, and I have the pleasure of being with the CEO of the Princess Juliana International Airport, Mr. Brian Mingo. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
So let's get right into it. We're gonna jump right in head first. 7 years to rebuild an airport. Why?
You know, if you put it in perspective, yes, you think it's way too long, even in my book. But if you zoom in and you really see what happened, then you will understand. Let me put it in a different context. We only actually signed with the main contractor in 2021.
Okay.
So if you count it back, we're only busy a little small 3 years. And we should be finished within 3 years. So 21, 22, 23, 24. So within 3 years, we have reconstructed the airport.
Okay.
And why it took so long from 17 when it happened to signing the contract is the administrative part, the funding, and of course getting the airport back on its feet when it got damaged in 2017.
And then we had COVID too.
Correct, but everyone is using a COVID excuse. I wanted to leave that to the last.
Okay.
But actually, administrative part was actually the biggest challenge in the beginning, getting the funding, government changed, getting everyone on the same page. Everyone had their ideas of how to fund this, but we took it to the level of doing the right thing.
When you mentioned funding, how much funding are we talking when it comes to money?
If you look at the overall project, the project is one of the biggest construction projects in St. Martin at $180 million at least. The funding part, we did around 150, a little above the 150. But it of course grew. There are some little components in there that we did ourselves, but the main funding came from the Trust Fund, the World Bank, and the other part came from the European Investment Bank.
Okay. When we talk about running the airport and getting things together, you actually got Schiphol involved, and there was some, a lot of talk about why are we getting Schiphol involved in doing the Princess? Can you go into that?
Well, let me simplify it. End of the day, when I came here as CEO in 2019, I started 2019, so I started like 1.5 years after the disaster of Irma. I saw how big the problem was, and it was like, whoa. And I look at the team that we had, and the team that we had was good in running operations, running an airport, and that's completely different competencies than running a project, especially the major project that we needed. So let me put it in a different angle. You have a university with great professors, they can teach. Can they build a university? I don't think so. And that is the same philosophy I took here. I needed to get a great team on board. I needed to do it quite quick. We had logistics, we had business, we had organization, and of course the rebuilding of the airport. And I reached out to Schiphol. They're well renowned in the airport business. They're in JFK, they do Terminal 5, Terminal 4 actually. They do Aruba. So I said, I reached out to them, can you assist me here in St. Martin? And I did that immediately, and the answer was yes. I got it funded through the Netherlands, and my team has Schiphol specialists on board, both on the project as well as the finance executive as well as the supervisory boards.
How difficult was it to get the Netherlands on board to restore the Princess, or was it difficult?
No, I think once you show your plan, we came with a comprehensive program, of course, to rebuild the airport. And once they saw that we were serious and we meant business, they were part of rebuilding St. Martin. Don't forget, the Netherlands nearly put up $500 million in the recovery program for St. Martin. They put it in this the Trust Fund, which is managed by the NRPB and the World Bank. And that was actually to rebuild St. Martin. So some of the funding for rebuilding this airport came from that Trust Fund. And of course, they wanted to make sure that the money was spent wisely, and that's why we have certain corporate governance, involved to make sure it's done the right way. You're dealing with taxpayers' money here, so you have to do it the right way.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to SXV.SX and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social health insurances.
With giving any specifics as it relates to the country's financial situation, but can you indicate whether it has gotten any better from when you entered office, and what sort of revenue generating measures on the short term, of course, because the government has a limited time, have you instituted or will you institute? I know you mentioned at an earlier press briefing that one of the areas you're looking at is stepping up controls to get as much as possible from the motor vehicle tax. But is there anything else that government is doing on the short term to raise much needed revenue? Thank you.
Due to timing, I can already tell you that one of the things that I looked at is, for example, those controls. And the controls, when I looked at the revenue from January through May at the time, 2023, where collection for a motor vehicle was concerned, was at 4 million plus. That was 2023. 2024, we were down 2 million. So hence the need to making sure that we step up on the controls where that is concerned. I have not received an update at this time how things have improved in that area as yet. But once I do get that information, I can furnish you with that.
Just if I may follow up on that as well, there are still many cars driving around with absolutely no plates on the front or the back, and some that do have plates, you can barely see it because it's covered by something. What does the law say about that, and is this something we're tackling, particularly given the crime situation that we have?
Yeah, so by law, you're supposed to have your plate, front and back. We have also instituted the QR code sticker. They go hand in hand at this point. In reference to a number of cars, I have seen it reduce. As a matter of fact, I've now seen more cars with the plates on. I'm not seeing as much Ws anymore. So I guess people are now going in to not only make the payments and collecting their plates because that service has been provided or it's offered to individuals. The plates are here. So, yeah, I know that legally they're supposed to have their plates on. And I admonish everyone to making sure that they do go ahead, especially due to the crime situation on St. Martin right now, that we make sure that the plates are on your cars and that they are visible.
But what happens to someone, if they don't have the plates and they're still driving around? Is it something that we're going to clamp down on? Or?
Yeah, but that's the intention. And that's the intention for the controls because of the fact that it's not allowed to have individuals drive around without plates. And that tint on the plate, we need to see them. So the clamping down is definitely what we are working on and making sure that persons comply with the law.
Thank you so much.